Ho! This is the MOCCASIN Telegraph at the land of the Singing Coyote Indian Center in south central Ohio. My name is Tikadabuna Washte Wichasha, means prairie chicken, good man. By the way, that name was given to me by my grandpa, Ace Supremo, Pajuta Hokushina, medicine boy, Dakota Sioux. He had 89 tribes under him at one time, also a Pajuta man, Peyote Road man. I'd like to change gears a little bit here and talk about Sasquatch. There have been many sightings in Ohio, especially in this area around Tranquility Game Preserve, Shawnee Forest, several of the larger forests. And a boy was in here one day telling me about how they were coon hunting one night, and they were parked along the road. They had just come from in the woods, and somebody was throwing pebbles at them. And then it got a little larger. They began throwing rocks at him. He said, "We better get out of here. They're hitting my truck." So they left. And at that time, they didn't know what it was. But later, they began to think that they might have saw Sasquatch. They didn't know for sure because all they could see was a big dark figure out there. It looked like they were throwing things. And another gentleman was in here telling me about one night they were camping down in, well, actually it was up in southeastern Ohio a little bit, down around some of the overhangs. And he had a camper that sat on his truck. And about 1 o'clock in the morning, something came by and a loud scratching noise on the side of their truck. And the next morning, him and his son got up and he asked his son, "Did you hear that noise?" He said, "Yeah, but I was too scared to say anything." So they go out and they could see on the left side, it was parked closest to the forest. It looked like big claw marks that had went down the whole side of the truck there on the camper part. That's just some of the stories that have been told in this area about Sasquatch. Now if you go back to some of the legends years and years ago, these beaver trappers were going up above the Yellowstone up in there, and they were going to trap for beavers. They were all chachacos. In other words, they were greenhorns. But they had an Indian guide up there, and after they came into this big valley, he told them he wasn't going no farther because of the giant, the hairy one, Sasquatch. So they go on in and they see a lot of beaver around. They think, "Oh, we're going to make camp here." They go a little farther down and they find this old cabin where the roof had been evidently knocked in by rocks or stones. So they decide they're going to fix the cabin up and they can stay in the cabin. It had a fireplace and everything. So they fix the cabin up, take a couple, 3 days, put a roof on it. Then they go out and start setting their traps. They set a pretty large number of traps. So the next afternoon they get ready to go out and run their traps, and when they run their traps they find out all the traps have been sprung. They couldn't understand why they didn't catch no beaver. So the next day they go out, same thing, all the traps are sprung. Well, this one man was looking across the river there and he thought he saw a dark shadow in the trees watching them, but he wasn't sure what it was. So he gets up early the next morning and he sees this same shadow on the other side bent down along the creek springing their traps, but he didn't get a good look at him. So they're talking about it and why there wasn't nothing there. And you know, it was a couple days this went on, and they begin to hear these noises at night. And as they hear these noises, they can't figure out what they are, but they're loud, like somebody knocking on trees. So about the 7th day they're there, they hear this noise on the roof. Then it gets louder and louder. And the next thing you know, there's these big boulders coming down, hitting the top of the roof. And eventually it broke through the roof and they were being stoned by something up over on the cliff above the cabin. And as they kept throwing stones, this one, he got hit and caused him a broken arm, the way the story goes. So they ran out, got on their horses, and they left everything. And to this day, they think that Bigfoot or Sasquatch run the people that trapped this valley out. This is a legend that's been told by the Indians and also by the white people for many, many years. I'd like to say about that much. Doksha Washte.